If you could leave at least 2 minutes, well, 2 minutes for Mr. Law to wind up. Andrew Mitchell.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I'm most grateful to the Honourable Member for Dundee West for securing this debate and for the contributions of all Right Honourable and Honourable Members of the House. I will try to respond to the points that have been raised. It has been a passionate debate with many eloquent and informed and heartfelt speeches from senior and distinguished parliamentarians. First of all, as I said in my earlier statement today, Mr. Deputy Speaker, this government condemns the horrific murder of Lucy Meyer and Rena D, which was referred to at the outset of the debate, by a terrorist, and we offer our deepest condolences to Rabbi Leo D. The decision of the family to donate Lucy's organs is an act of compassion that stands in extraordinary and vivid contrast to the senseless violence that robbed a family of its mother and 2 sisters. The United Kingdom unequivocally condemns this and all other acts of terrorism perpetrated against Israel and her citizens. This is sadly, Mr. Deputy Speaker, a timely debate. Last year was, as has been pointed out throughout this debate, the deadliest in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories since the Second Intifada, according to UN records. So far in 2023, there have been 89 Palestinians killed by Israeli security forces and 19 Israelis killed in acts of terrorism. The UK is actively encouraging de-escalation. We welcome the leadership shown by the Israelis and the Palestinians when they attended the meetings in Aqaba and Sharm el-Sheikh to discuss ways to de-escalate the rising tensions. And we are grateful to the governments of Jordan, Egypt and the United States for instigating these discussions. The UK is now working with both sides and international partners to support this process and calls upon both Israel and the Palestinians to honour the commitments made in these meetings. We call on the Palestinian Authority to denounce incitement to violence and to resume its security cooperation with the Israeli authorities. And we say to the Israeli government that Israel has a legitimate right to self-defence, but its security forces must keep their obligations under international humanitarian law. And on Al-Aqsa, also referred to during the debate, both Palestinians and Israelis must avoid actions that risk escalating tensions, including around the holy sites of Jerusalem. The UK calls for all parties to respect the historic status quo arrangements at Jerusalem's holy sites, and we welcome Israel's decision to prevent non-Muslims from visiting the Al-Aqsa compound for the final days of Ramadan, an important step in support of de-escalation. Now, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I want to address very directly the 4 points that have been made in this debate and which were emphasised by the honourable gentleman who speaks for the opposition, and also by the honourable gentleman for Dundee West. First of all, on demolitions and evictions. The UK is clear that the demolition of Palestinian homes and forced evictions cause unnecessary suffering to ordinary Palestinians and call into question Israel's commitment to a viable 2-state solution. In all but the most exceptional of cases, demolitions by an occupying power are contrary to international humanitarian law. Officials from the British Embassy in Tel Aviv have repeatedly raised our concerns about demolitions with Israeli ministers and senior officials and urged them to cease the policy of demolitions and provide a clear, transparent route to construction for Palestinians in Area C. The UK government is also focused on preventing demolitions from happening in the first place and supports Bedouin communities and Palestinians facing demolition or eviction in Area C of the West Bank through our legal aid programme. This helps residents challenge decisions inside the Israeli legal system. Secondly, on child detention, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the honourable gentleman asked me about child detention in Israel and Save the Children's 2020 report. We remain committed to working with Israel to secure improvements to the practices surrounding children in administrative detention in Israel. We've made clear our concern about the continued reports of ill treatment of Palestinian minors in Israeli administrative detention. Reports of the heavy use, Mr. Deputy Speaker, of painful restraints and the high number of Palestinian children who are not informed of their legal rights in contravention of Israel's own regulations are particularly troubling, as is the continued transfer of Palestinian Palestinian child and adult detainees to prisons inside Israel in violation of the 4th Geneva Convention. We continue to make representations to the Israeli authorities on this issue and urge them to comply with their obligations under international law and either charge or release these detainees. Thirdly, the Honourable Gentleman raised access and movement. We continue to stress to the Israeli authorities the damage that their restrictions on movement, access and trade are doing to the living standards of ordinary Palestinians, particularly in Gaza. Whilst we welcome the steps that Israel has taken to ease some restrictions, we want to see Israel go much further. And we urge access into and out of Gaza in accordance with international humanitarian law by humanitarian actors, reconstruction materials, and those, including Palestinians, travelling for medical purposes. And we are in close contact with UN agencies and key partners on the ground to assess the situation, and will monitor this closely. I'm afraid if you'll just allow me for a moment. Fourthly, on the construction permits, we have repeatedly made clear to the Israeli authorities our opposition to demolitions of Palestinian properties in Area C of the West Bank and in East Jerusalem. And we call on them to cease the policy of demolitions and provide a clear, transparent route to constructions for Palestinians in Area C. I must give way to the Honourable Lady first.
I thank the Minister for giving way. Could he just go a step further and actually condemn the current permit system, which is separating families, Gazan families? On my recent visit at Makassar Hospital in East Jerusalem, neonatal unit, I saw prematurely born babies who'd been separated from their mothers and their families for weeks. There was one baby who had been waiting 2 weeks to be discharged because neither her mother nor other family member in Gaza could get a permit. Will he condemn that? Because Gaza is, frankly, an open-air prison at the moment.
Well, I'm trying to make a constructive speech, and I hope she will allow me to make the points that I'm making in my own way. But if she reads carefully in Hansard what I have said about this, I think she will find much to please her. I give way to the Honourable Gentleman.
Grateful to my right honourable neighbour for giving way. He has just set out 4 sets of sins that the UK government has protested to the government of Benjamin Netanyahu. He must, however, therefore accept that our words are failing to deter egregious behaviour. So when is he going to shift from words to deeds in order to deter things getting any worse?
Well, I think my right honourable neighbour underestimates the effect of the House debate today. What is said in the House of Commons will be read today. He has focused, as have I, on 4 particular areas in his intervention, and I think what I am saying and what has been said across the House speaks for itself. If I can just come to the Honourable Gentleman for Hammersmith, who asked me to elaborate on what I said earlier, and indeed who raised points of importance, similar to the Honourable Gentleman for Islington, the Right Honourable Gentleman for Islington North and Hayes and Harlington. Of course, all 4 of us campaigned for the human rights some years ago over a prolonged period of time of Shaka Amar. I want to say this: the government of Israel and the Palestinian National Authority reaffirmed their joint readiness and commitment to work immediately to end unilateral measures for a period of 3 to 6 months. This includes an Israeli commitment to stop discussion of any new settlement units for 4 months and to stop authorization of any outposts for 6 months. So I hope that is a proper answer to the question which he posed. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the UK will always seek to advance the cause of Palestinians' human rights in a manner that is fair and balanced and supports proportionate and fair international scrutiny of Israel. I'm conscious of the time, Mr. Deputy Speaker, so I will draw my remarks to a close. And let me end by reiterating that the UK government wants to see the human rights of all Palestinians protected. This is a vital step towards the creation of a sovereign, independent and viable Palestinian state, living in peace and security side by side with a safe and secure Israel. And let me answer 2 other questions. I was asked to give, without any equivocation, our position on settlements. The UK position on settlements is absolutely clear. Settlements are illegal. And I was asked about recognition of the Palestinian state. The UK will recognise a Palestinian state at a time when the government believes this will best serve the objective of peace. Thank you very much.
Law.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. First of all,